All right, we are back in the studio with the Overheard Podcast, recorded live in Banff. My name is Daniel Rudo. With me always is my co-host.
We got Matty Rage. Let's go.
Joining us today is a very special guest. We got Scott Walker. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Grateful for the opportunity. Thanks for having me on the show.
Very, very welcome. If you are a first-time listener, we find when we look at the analytics, me and Matt, we look at them every week. About 70% of people that just drop in for a listen don't subscribe. We're going live now for the first time on YouTube. So if you're joining us for the first time, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the little bell so you get the little notifications every time we're doing something. Right, Matt?
Let's go, dude. We're moving platforms.
Yeah, no more Twitch. I don't think Twitch is just...
It wasn't...
It was good to start.
Oh, yeah, it was great. I still DJ on Twitch all the time, but... I feel like we may get more interactions on the ease of access with everyone having a YouTube account. You know what I mean?
I feel like, yeah, it's just like maybe one less step in our post-show routine too,
and our
right?
post-production as well too. Yeah, way easier.
So yeah, a little bit easier. Anyways, enough about that. Thank you for joining us. If you are, let's move on to Scott. I got a little bio for Scott here. He's made the Bow Valley home since 2010. Prior to that, has lived in Calgary, Japan, Vancouver, Whistler, after growing up in Selkirk, Manitoba, that is near Winnipeg. Scott has had a variety of careers and jobs in his life, including public school teacher, downhill ski instructor and coach, nursing assistant in a psychiatric hospital, and various roles in the financial industry. Currently, he's a server and server trainer at both Balkan and Park Distillery here in Banff. He's also an entrepreneur. Scott has lived with bipolar disorder since 2000 and has been a mental health advocate in the Bow Valley since 2015. He shares about his bipolar journey publicly in a variety of ways, including on the social media and in media interviews, as we're doing today. Scott is currently writing his first book focused on a specific area of mental health that we'll dive into later. During his free time, he enjoys spiritual and personal growth, hiking, mountain biking, and reading. Thank you so much for joining us today, Scott.
Oh, my pleasure. Very happy to be here. It's very cozy, very comfy.
Right?
Yeah, we try to keep it light.
I was saying that it's been a couple of weeks. We've been doing different styles of videos, different styles of projects, going on the road, doing things. But it's nice to be
back in the studio.
And it always sounds the crispest in here for sure.
Oh yeah, we don't have to compete with tourists and wildlife and weather last week, I guess.
I mean, last week I kind of got the nerves because when we started recording the interview, about 5 minutes in, we did an interview on the shoreline with Gazzy. Right. There's about like 20 people on the shoreline watching us interview.
They're just like, what is going on down here? Like we had the gimbal and the tripod set up and mics out, and it was great.
Were you like signing autographs afterwards?
No. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I definitely felt the nerves
a little bit of a live audience.
Live
audience experience.
So before we get too far into things, let's check in with our longest standing sponsor. We got to give a big shout out to Shaft. Thank you for their continued support. Let's check in with them real quick. This episode is brought to you by the Non-Alc Shaft. If you're looking for a clean energy drink that's gluten-free, vegan, naturally caffeinated with real coffee, perfect for the quick pick-me-up in the middle of the afternoon, or heck, in the morning when you're on the way to the hill, be sure to check out the beautiful black non-alc can sold as singles or as 4-packs down at Townhouse Liquor. I know my fridge is stocked up.
All right, baby. We're back.
Let's go. How's the week been, gentlemen? What you guys been up to?
Well, I had my little DJ gig up at the Banff Center there, which was a pretty good time. So went well. I played some good tunes. We had some people.
It was a great time, man. There was people shaking it on the dance floor. I was checking it out, taking some pics and some vids from Matty Rage. I hadn't been out to a club in a long time, so it was pretty fun. What have you been up to, Scott?
It's been a really good week. I know I was telling you before we started that I did a good hike with a friend last week, Bhupal, born and raised in Nepal, and we just do group hikes. But yeah, it was just him and I was pretty sore the next day, but it was great getting out there. And and actually today I had a session with a business coach, so that was really empowering and exciting moving forward. So Yeah, and it's nice seeing that bright thing in the sky again as well.
Oh my God.
Oh God, yeah.
Right?
We missed out on some sun here for most of the summer. It's like one of the nicest days we've had in a while.
The valley is lush, I'll tell you that. The
Oh, yeah.
golf course is
Oh, I
immaculate.
bet, with all the rain this year.
Oh man, I was down there this morning, and I don't know if you were up early in Banff this morning. The clouds were settled super low.
Oh, right.
I
saw
woke
that.
up and I'm almost like, was it smoke or was it just clouds? And then I got into a car and got driven down to the Banff Springs. And as you kind of turn down lower, I guess maybe around Tunnel, on the backside of Tunnel, the clouds opened up and you can see the clouds just sitting low, and it was so beautiful.
Nice.
Amazing stuff. So Scott, let's dive into things a little bit. You made your way around a little bit before finally settling in Banff. Why'd you choose Banff?
Great question. Long time ago, when I was living in Japan, I was thinking, okay, when I move back to Canada, where do I want to live?
Mm-hmm.
And out of where I had been in Canada, Banff was my favorite place. I'd lived in Whistler. I loved Whistler. But for me, Banff was just really special because it was so much smaller footprint, being right in the national park. So when I moved back from Japan to Canada, I did actually choose to go to Calgary.
Okay.
My brother was living there. He still lives there. And I knew a few other people there. And I thought, okay, there's a better chance of getting a real job, a career.
Yeah.
Right. Because up to that point in my life, I'd been a teacher in Manitoba. That was too stressful, so I quit. Then I'd been a ski teacher in Whistler. And I really enjoyed that. And then I was fortunate to get a job teaching English in Japan.
Oh, that's sick.
Wow.
But bottom line is, as you can tell, I kind of bounced around from jobs and careers. And I thought, okay, when I come back to Canada, even though I really want to go to Banff, I should probably go to Calgary and get an actual career. But, I was always out in Banff, and I was teaching skiing part-time here when I lived in Calgary. And then essentially 2006, my mom passed away, and I took it really hard. And then I was starting to do some personal development, talking with some therapists, some coaches.
Right.
And essentially, I was working with two very high-level coaches in Calgary, and they both said, like, you're always in the mountains. You're always talking about the mountains. Why are you still living in Calgary?
Yeah, fair.
And I enjoy Calgary. I think it's a great city. But then I got thinking, why am I in a corporate job in Calgary? Why am I still in a city? I'm always going to the mountains. I'm always talking about the mountains. So 2010, I pulled the plug. I sold my condo in Calgary.
Nice.
Moved to Canmore. Started working in Banff as a server, as a temporary thing, and that's how life happens. So
For sure.
so that's kind of the longer story of how I ended up in Banff.
Thanks.
Amazing.
What keeps you here after all these years?
Yeah, great question. I mean, number one for me is the community. I mean, you guys are both longtime locals, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, as they say. But no, the community here is incredible. I've lived in towns similar size to this. Even the town I grew up in, Selkirk, Manitoba, is a similar population to Banff. But like, first of all, the people are just incredible here. Like the amount of support, as we were chatting before the show, like when something happens in someone's life, a fundraiser happens, or last year when the Jasper fires happened, bam,
everybody
hundreds of thousands of dollars are raised in 24 hours. So the people, and then even the facilities in Banff that we have, besides the obvious recreation ones, like the Banff Center, it's an incredible facility.
Right.
The town facilities, and then of course all the trails we have, and honestly, I'm really grateful too that we are so close to a major city. Like we're not 4 hours to a city.
That's a good point. I mean, if you start looking at other mountain towns that have the same type of accessibility, when you look at recreation, they tend to be
middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they tend to be a little bit farther accessible.
Like
right?
go to Radium, and it's like, what's near Radium? Like
that's kind of the gift and the
It's,
curse, right? Is like we are that close to the city, so we have the tourism as well, but it's
totally, because as you know, I mean, it means that we get way busier than those other towns,
of course,
for other reasons.
Also means that we can live here as well, right? And like have more consistent jobs. There's no dead season anymore where like that used to be, you have to factor that into the year to not work for maybe a month or two, where now that's
thing of the past, man.
No longer the case.
Oh yeah.
No, it's so true. And another thing I just love about Banff is, I do have a car, but I pretty well walk everywhere.
For sure.
So I love having that quality of life where I'm not tied to a vehicle and I'm not taking half an hour on transit to get somewhere. Like it's funny because earlier this year I had to move in town because where I was living, my two roommates and it was getting converted to commercial property.
Oh, okay.
So we had to move, and it is what it is. Being a renter, I accepted that.
We've all been there.
But basically where I used to live, I had a 45-second walk to Balkan.
Wow.
And now it's 13 minutes and it feels so long, but it's 13-minute walk. I mean, when you compare that to most people listening, I mean, that's a very short commute.
It's a pretty sweet commute for sure.
Like I used to ride my bike for like an hour in London to get to the mall that I worked at. It was either like take the bus for an hour and a half or ride your bike for an hour. I'm like,
the bike in the summer in Banff is cheat code. Like you're whizzing around. You get to the grocery store and back in 10 minutes.
Oh yeah,
it takes you longer.
Yeah, it'd take you longer in a car to go down there.
I just picked up my bike today. Big shout out to the Tune Shop guys.
Nice.
Hey.
Dan had a little bit of a wipeout a couple months back.
Oh, it was bad. But anyways, we're back now. The bike is back.
Well, looks like you're healed in one piece here.
I am, for sure. Back ripping on the bike, so watch out there. Scott, what advice would you give to someone? We all know Banff's not the easiest place to make a long-term life. What advice would you give to someone who wants to stay here long-term?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I personally think one of the key things is to really do your best to nurture and continually, how's the best way to say that? Basically, nurture key friendships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
Because, I think a lot of people in smaller towns, they know a lot of people, and that just happens when you're in a small town, whether it's work or things you're involved in. But from my experience, I think like everyone, there's always key people you have a good friendship with.
For sure.
And I think it's to really make sure you create that time on a semi-regular or regular basis to connect. Like even today, just before this, I was telling Dan that I connected with my roommate Cricket, or former roommate Cricket.
Oh, let's go.
So shout out to Cricket. And he's someone that when we lived together, we just really got along well. He's a super good guy, and it's summer in Banff. Everyone's busy. Everyone's working a lot. But bottom line is like, hey, we want to make this time to connect and to hang out, catch up, support each other. So I personally think that's probably one of the key things for long term is just having those key friendships. Because of course, those are the people that you're leaning on for support,
right?
Or supporting them when they need it. Those are the people you're going to celebrations with. Those are the people that you are basically, sharing your life with. And like a lot of people, like my absolute best friends don't live in Banff. Mm-hmm. However, I'm still fortunate to have good friends in Banff. And so I think that's one thing. And I think a second thing for long-term in Banff is just being involved in something or creating something. So like you gentlemen with the podcast, this is something where you are co-creating it together. You're meeting new people. You're getting to know people in your lives even better that you have as guests. And so I think whatever it is for people, whether it's painting in the trail on their own, or if it's getting involved with a group or getting involved with martial art or music or whatever, just getting involved in something and some sort of community, or creating something on your own or with a friend. I think because that way it gives you like a purpose to your life besides your job.
100%. 100%. I think it's easy to fall into those routines of going out after work with the people that you work with, and that kind of becomes your immediate friend circle.
It's so true though. Like, Banff is one of those weird places where like you're really good friends with the people you work with, and then you go to a new job and you might not even ever talk to them again. You're just like,
it's true.
I guess we just got drunk together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But also the service industry is kind of like that on its own. It's
but again, like finding that community outside of the service industry where you're doing things besides drinking, I think is a very good point to make.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, when I put the bottle down, like I found a lot of people, no offense, that I used to hang out with, like we just didn't have the same hobbies anymore. You know what I mean? Which so I think having hobbies outside of working and drinking is very important for sure.
Totally. Well, I've been a non-drinker for 13 years, and fortunately I never. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, fortunately I never had an alcohol addiction. I never had a real problem.
Nice.
But it was funny. This was years ago. I was working at Wild Bill's, and I'd finished the shift. And I rarely do this, but I was hanging out at the sports bar.
Yeah.
And Darcy was bartending. And
oh, yeah.
And Darcy's like,
yeah, let's go. I forgot about Darcy.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Yeah. He's working at Lafarge now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Darcy's like, they called me Scooter there. It was Frank, who we used to work with, nicknamed me Scooter.
How did you get that nickname?
I don't even know. Then it was Scooter. Then it was Scoots. I said to him, Frank, I already have a nickname from high school. It's Sky. He's like, I don't care. You're Scoots. You're Scooter when you're at Bill's. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So anyway, so I go to the sports bar and Darcy's there, and it's after my shift. And of course he's surprised because I'm a non-drinker. And Darcy's like, Scoots, what are you doing here? I said, oh, I'm celebrating my 5-year non-drinking anniversary. He's like, let's do a shot. So there was like 6 of us. I had the apple juice or cranberry juice shot. Everyone else had a Jaeger shot.
Yeah.
It was just fun. It was just like, yeah, I guess that kind of came to mind when you talked about the whole drinking and service industry culture.
For sure.
It's easy to get sucked into.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, it is what it is.
It's not impossible though, but yeah, I think finding that community outside of that, you know,
You gotta
what I
have some
mean? Like,
balance, man. You gotta have some
yeah.
balance. Like you see some of the young guys come in and they're just like, you're getting Banffed hard, dude. Like you've been like absolute shit canned for the past like week at work. Like,
well, I
it's
think
just
too,
wild.
there's like, depending on which company that you work for, like some of the bigger companies, there's a big push for you to kind of hang out with work people, right?
Well, when I was
like
at the ski resort too, everybody was in staff
Yeah,
con, right? Like
like-
you're stuck on a mountain. It's like, what are you going to do? You just go get wasted and then you go to work in the morning and it's like, you just do that over and over. It's like, you see people just going down. You're like, oh buddy, you're crashing out. Like, careful, dude. I'm telling you right now, like sleeping in for work. It's like your work is 30 feet away, man.
But I'll tell you, like
Like-
making friends as an adult in Banff
Very
is
different.
like, yeah, like
Very
it's
different,
much
yeah.
easier than if you go, like if you're living in a city. I don't know. Do you have an
for
experience
sure.
living in a city?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I mean, I lived in Calgary for 10 years. I had a variety of actual like career type jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I knew a good amount of people. I had a good amount of acquaintances.
Right.
But yeah, like my social network in Banff is much, much larger. And it's not like I'm not like Saki. I can't like walk down the street and
Yeah,
every
yeah.
second person's waving. But
Yeah.
but bottom line is, yeah, like you said, it's easier to meet people here because you see people more often. You see them at the post office. You see them at the
everywhere.
yeah, and even just walking to work, going wherever, biking. So yeah, I mean I know some people get tired of that. Like I'm sure
I
you
love
guys have probably known people who got tired of that and then they moved to Cochrane or they moved to Calgary or they moved back to Toronto or whatever. But I personally love that. Like even today, I was, like I said, I went to visit cricket, and on the way there, I saw a couple of people I know. On the way back, I saw a couple of people I know. And again, it's not stopping to have a deep conversation, but it says, hey, how's it going? You know, and
But yeah, you don't get that in a big city. Like,
No,
it's
not at all.
Nah, if
Not
you like
at
you
all.
wave at somebody and they're like, "The fuck are you?" Like, you know what I mean? It's like, sorry,
they
man. Like, yeah,
they think you're gonna like assault them.
Yeah,
or
they think you
something,
want
right?
something from them. It's like, I'm just trying to say hello, man. Like,
For sure.
it's all good.
Sometimes even when you just make eye contact with people in some cities, they give you a look like you're going to stab them. It's like, hey, I'm just looking at
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Like, I'm just giving you a friendly look here. I don't have an ulterior motive. You know?
It's like, hey, put those teeth away.
God.
So can we talk a bit about your journey through mental health and bipolar disorder? How did you get diagnosed, or how did you kind of come around to know that something needed to be addressed?
Sure. So I could make it a very long story, and we'd probably be here till next Tuesday. But I'll keep it as brief as I can. When I was a university student in Winnipeg, I worked 3 summers at a psychiatric hospital. Basically, I was taking a phys ed degree, and I was able to work in the recreation area of the largest psychiatric hospital in Manitoba. It's actually in the town I grew up in, Selkirk. So anyways, being in that facility, I got to meet a lot of long-term residents with a wide variety of mental illnesses, you know, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, crippling depression, OCD, the gamut of mental illness. So I'd been exposed to that when I was a university student. And and then when I was teaching English in Japan, I was there for a year, and then my mom. This was like 1999, and everyone was talking about the millennium. Oh, what are you doing for millennium?
Yeah, right.
Like people are either
Y2K,
really excited or like
Yeah.
the world's gonna end. You know, all the nuclear bombs are gonna go off. And
Yeah.
so my mom said, "Hey, why don't you, me, and your brother meet in New Zealand for Christmas and for millennium?" Because my dad came from New Zealand.
Very cool.
So my brother and I are dual citizens, and my dad passed away when I was 12. However, my mom still had a really good connection with my dad's brother and his wife and my dad's mother. So
Amazing.
we agreed to meet in New Zealand for millennium. And so anyways, we met, and Christmas was great. And then all of a sudden I wasn't sleeping. I was super energetic. I felt like I had like expanded senses. Like I felt like I could hear people talking further away. I felt, and I was spending more money than usual. So I knew something was wrong. However, it's hard not to want to be energetic and super confident and not be sleeping, right?
For sure. I've heard this about like manic states before, is when you're in it, you feel awesome. Like you said, almost like a superhero. Like nothing can take you, like nothing can stop you almost, right? Like
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and I'd never experienced that in my life. And, but then, sure enough, that was going on it started just after Christmas. And then, I basically wasn't telling my mom and my brother that I was barely sleeping. I was just staying up, and I had all these ideas. It was like a nonstop flow of creative ideas. I was writing them down, and then it was New Year's Day morning where I had barely slept. I don't even know if I had slept. And we were staying at my aunt and uncle's just outside of Auckland. And I pulled my mom aside to a bedroom, and I just said, "Hey, we got to have a talk." And I said, I know I'm acting weird. She's like, "Yeah, I know the whole family thinks I'm acting very weird." She's like, "Oh yeah." I said, I want to get checked into the hospital. So we went into the small check-in, I think it was a medical clinic in Pukekohe. Like it was like a smaller town just outside of Auckland. Got checked in there. And I kid you not, all I remember is talking with this intake nurse. And then I remember I had to go to the bathroom. So they had a student nurse follow me to the bathroom because I wasn't suicidal, but they just wanted to make sure I was safe.
Yeah, it's like standard protocol, I think.
Yeah.
Totally. And then I don't remember a thing until January 11th.
Wow.
So there's a 10-day period of my life where, I kid you not, I don't remember a thing. But during that time, I had been moved to a major hospital in Auckland, which is one of the best psychiatric facilities, I think, in New Zealand. And and then basically I found out, you had a manic episode. You've been heavily medicated these last 10 days because your brain wasn't shutting off. You've been sleeping a ton. You've still been eating. You've still been talking with people, but it's like this, I don't remember that 10-day period. So basically they said you're diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And so that was the start.
Do you have any idea of what triggered it at all? Was it like stress at the time, or?
It's a good question. I mean, obviously I've had 25 years to ponder that question.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And my personal feeling, it shifts every year or two. But my personal feeling is that it was a combination of things. When I was living in Japan, I mean, I was really fortunate. I was making very good money. It was after tax. I was teaching private classes. However, I wasn't eating very well. So I wasn't getting like good nutrition. The more I've learned about mental illness, there's many people out there that say mental illness problems can be caused by nutritional, especially mineral deficiencies.
If the microbiome of the gut controls a lot of the processes of the brain.
Good point.
Yeah, that's like scientifically. I've learned this recently. This is not something I'm not an expert on or anything.
Totally.
But yeah, it's something that I think
here.
in the last few years they've kind of discovered this, that it's way more closely linked than was previously thought, right? Like,
yeah. So I think that's a part reason. A second one, this might be controversial for some, but there's an author out there called Medical Medium. And he is someone that channels, or he's given access to information that is supposedly 50 years ahead.
Okay.
So again, that's something people either believe or not. But anyways, he claims that for some people living with bipolar disorder, that the root cause is amalgam mercury fillings, because every time you chew and you have a mercury filling, there's a minute amount of gas that gets emitted. And where does that gas go?
Are you breathing it or into your brain?
It goes right into your brain.
Yeah.
So so as a kid, I had a lot of mercury fillings. So I feel that's a potential reason.
Fair.
And then the third reason I think personally is that I personally think is more a spiritual reason. It's like I feel that I was basically that I co-created this illness in my life to learn from it and to potentially help others.
Fair.
Yeah.
Do you think being exposed to like working in the mental health field before that, like?
Yeah, I think that. Sorry, I kind of cut you off there,
please,
but no,
yeah.
I think that again, I think there's a very, very definitive reason, because I remember when I was a student in university, like I'd been lifeguarding. I had the highest level of lifeguarding in Canada, like national lifeguard.
Cool.
I'd worked for City Winnipeg. I'd worked at a water slide park. But I remember going into that first summer that I worked at the psych ward, I was having a really hard time getting a job. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've been a lifeguard forever. I've been a ski coach. I've been a swim instructor, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why am I having such a hard time getting a job? And then I got this job at the mental health facility. So yeah, I do feel it all kind of tied into like a life plan.
It's like a perfect storm kind of thing, you know, multi-factors.
Wow.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh yeah, no
with us,
problem.
honestly, let's.
What do you think the most misunderstood thing about dealing with bipolar would be from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely thought about this before coming today. I think the number one, there's two things. I think the number one thing is a lot of people think when someone lives with bipolar disorder that they're always high or low.
Oh, okay.
They don't think that there's stability. And to people's defense, like I think there are people out there that know people who sadly are not managing their mental health very well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think there are many people that know people that live with bipolar disorder that are either chronically depressed or chronically hypomanic.
I think those are just the more standout cases. Like you're not gonna really know if someone has bipolar disorder if they're not either really low or really high, right? Like it's something.
Totally.
You know, it's like you're wearing it on your forehead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those just tend to be the cases I think that people associate with that diagnosis because it's you can see it when it's happening, you know?
It's so true. And I know like over the years, as I've gotten more comfortable publicly and in person sharing with people that I live with bipolar disorder, like it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes people say to me, hey, like you look normal. They're like, I wouldn't guess that you live with bipolar disorder. And I said, hey, like, I get that. Cause like, I don't know if you ever watched that movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo.
Of course. Yeah. It's classic.
Yeah. Right.
I
Like,
watched it in school.
Totally.
Like, yeah.
And then there's other movies and there's other TV shows where someone who lives with bipolar disorder, they're portrayed as being way over the edge or super depressed.
Right.
And I get it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing those movies or shows, but I just think for some people there are those preconceived notions and stereotypes.
For sure.
So I think that's the one misunderstanding. I think that's the biggest misunderstanding. And then the second, in my experience, biggest misunderstanding is that bipolar disorder is a chemical imbalance in the brain. Because from the research I've done, when medications were first coming out to treat bipolar disorder, it was called manic depression in the past.
Right.
Personally, I think that's a better name. I think that's a much more accurate name, and there's still countries that call it manic depression.
Yeah.
Like when I lived in Japan, it's like, no, Scott has manic depression. But anyways, when they're developing the drugs, the psychiatric drugs, medications for bipolar disorder, it's a very, very long story, but basically they stated it's a chemical imbalance.
I think that's probably something not a stereotype, but an angle portrayed by pharmaceutical industry, right? So it's like if they can sell you the idea that it's a chemical imbalance, they can probably sell you chemicals to fix it, right? Like,
Totally.
Makes sense.
And again, like I've been really fortunate to have amazing, like the last psychiatrist I saw, which was 40 years ago, was excellent. And I've had some amazing psychologists and other professionals, but the research I've done, and I did a deep dive years ago, is that the chemical imbalance notion was essentially a theory that was made up.
Yeah, 100%.
And there are psychiatrists still practicing today that were taught that still fully believe that. So I don't fault them for the learning. However, I do fault them for not being open to change, because there's a few well-respected psychiatrists that have disproven the chemical imbalance theory through papers, through studies, and unfortunately, some of the psychiatrists that still follow the chemical imbalance, they just label them as quacks and all of this. But it's like, well, no, they've actually shown all of the data and the science that no, there's no way to actually prove that there's a chemical imbalance.
I think, unfortunately, in our medical system, whether it's mental health or physical health, I think there's a lot of misdirection when it comes to what actually helps, if it can be sold, or, you know what I mean? People that support certain remedies or certain more natural ways of taking care of themselves are often labeled as quacks, like you said,
for sure.
right? Where it's just because this technique is not bottled, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I get it. Well, besides the pharmaceutical side of things, what are some other tools at your disposal that you've used to kind of manage your mental health along the way?
No, that's a great question. I'd say the biggest thing in my life personally is my spiritual connection. That's the main thing I use to manage my mental health. And a very close second is I'm very fortunate. I have a small group of very, very good friends.
Right.
The closest one lives in Calgary. And so those are people that I can lean on in a wide variety of ways. Like, cool. You know, it's embarrassing to say, but during COVID, there was a point in time where I was very, very low on funds. Like I'd used my credit cards, and I actually had to borrow money off a couple friends. And, you know, it's embarrassing to say that publicly, because it's like I came from a financial background, and I used to be a financial advisor.
There's no shame in that. We all
that was extenuating circumstances.
So, and then I'm like, oh my God, like I used to own a condo, like I said, and I used to be debt free. And it's like, oh wow, I'm in a position in my life where I have to borrow money off friends. So, so anyways, so that strong support network is a very close second. And then there's a wide other variety of tools I use. I think just being active is huge, and you don't have to be doing Ironmans, but honestly, like for people out there listening that have never had depression, when I've been deeply depressed, it is hard just to get out of the house.
For sure.
So just being able to get out of bed, go even around the block. I mean, so being physically active is a big tool. And then honestly, I know we were chatting before the show about sugar, like diet is huge. And alcohol is huge as well. So I'm not saying anyone with a mental illness should never drink again, but I'll just say in my experience, I've met and know a number of people who have a diagnosed mental illness that use alcohol as a coping mechanism.
100%.
And my heart goes out to them, because it means that they're in pain, or they have some sort of trauma or issue in their life that they just want to numb out. And I get it. We all have challenges in life. We all want to numb out, whether it's Netflix, alcohol, drugs, whatever. But the problem with alcohol is that it's so easily accessible, and it's available everywhere. Like, you remember during COVID, you couldn't go to the gym or the spa,
but you could go get beer and smoke.
Yeah.
When we started this podcasting journey, I went back through my social media to like deep dive and get rid of anything that might be offensive or whatever. My posts during COVID were insane. Like, it was just straight alcohol fueled, like trying to be
you were
funny.
Still drinking then?
At the beginning, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy.
Dan on a rager.
Oh, man.
What did you just take? A 5-year?
5-year, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Thank you.
I mean,
thank you.
5 years,
especially
in a town like this, right?
No doubt.
So, and your workplace as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not stereotyping, but being in the service industry.
And I don't knock it. Like, people can consume alcohol safely as well. Like, it's just
Most people in town don't.
It's not for me, you know? We touched on it a little bit earlier, Scott, just about dealing with the medical industry or the medical system. You said your journey started in New Zealand. How was your experience dealing with the Canadian medical industry when it comes to mental health?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when I moved back to Canada from Japan, that was in 2000. I was super fortunate. I got to meet with a psychiatrist very quickly. At that time, I was on a certain medication that had to be monitored with blood levels. So,
okay.
So, maybe it was just timing. Maybe it's because I was in a smaller town. That was basically, I lived with my mom for a couple months before moving to Calgary. So the start was great. When I got to Calgary, I got a general doctor right away. So he could he could just keep the medication prescription going.
Right.
But basically, at that time, I was told I could only see a psychiatrist if I was in dire need.
Yeah.
Really?
You're not
which
the
was
first
frustrating.
You heard this happen before.
Like you can't just go for a regular session.
No. So basically, unless you're, and again, that may have changed, but I've heard it's even worse now in Canada. I've heard of waiting lists, et cetera. But I was basically told that, unless I'm having suicidal thoughts or I'm manic, that I can't see a psychiatrist. I'm like, wait a minute.
Which is wild. You would think they would want the other way around instead of just like emergency cases. Like, why don't you just...
Well, I think it's focused on reactional care versus preventative care, right?
Yeah, I agree. Because as you know, like the more proactive you can be with your mental health,
no doubt,
the less chance of a big episode happening.
Yeah, big time.
So,
it's crazy that they do that.
So again, I know with Canada now, I personally think it really depends where you live. Like I've heard that in Banff, I haven't fortunately had to use it, but I've heard from a variety of people that there's an incredible amount of support. At the hospital, you can get counseling, you can get free therapy. Like there's a lot of channels in Banff, and we're very fortunate for that here.
That's true.
But I have used it for sure. I've used the services here in Banff. If you're ever struggling, you can always go to the Mineral Springs Hospital. They have mental health professionals on 24 hours a day, and they can really point you in the right direction for your cares from then. So, yeah, that was kind of my first stop. I had a good friend of mine take me there. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. So if you're ever out there struggling,
no doubt,
you know where to go.
Yeah, and just friends of mine who are in major cities, like most of them say the same thing. They're like, if you happen to be in a job or have a business where you have benefits, probably the best route is to find a really good counselor, therapist, or coach that's covered through benefits. Because when you have in my experience, when I've had a really good therapist, counselor, coach, it's essentially the same as a good psychiatrist. It's just they can't write a prescription.
Right.
So, yeah.
We mentioned prescription. What's your experience with medication? Do you take medication for your condition? Have you in the past? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not anti-medication. I'll say that very clearly. Because some people think I am. People that start to learn about my journey. So I'm not anti-medication in any way. Again, I could talk for a long time about my experience with medication, but essentially, in a nutshell, when I was first diagnosed, they were just trying to find something that helped my mind to be calmer, that helped me to sleep better. So I was on 4 medications. I was working part-time teaching English in Japan at that point, and I was literally sleeping 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Jeez.
Fortunately, they found one that helped in a lot of ways. So it got me down to 1. That one's called lithium, and it in the past it was kind of known as the gold standard of bipolar medication. There's some other ones now that have kind of taken over. But anyway, so I was on that medication for 7 years. And then I was on a different medication called Zyprexa for 2 years. And at this point in my life, I'm actually very fortunate and grateful that I've been med-free for coming up 15 years at the end of next month.
Awesome.
And again, when I say that, some people tell me, "Oh, you're special." Oh, that can't be done by everybody. And again, everyone's path is different. But
of course, I think that's a very important point to make, that everyone's path is different, right?
Totally.
So then there's nothing wrong if you do take medicine long term or these medications, right? Like they're there for a reason.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I know many people that, friends of mine that have different mental illnesses that take medication, and they know, and I'm always very clear, hey, I don't think any less of you.
Of course
because
not,
you're on
no.
medication.
Yeah.
Like, I've chosen to not be on it for my own reasons. And I'm very grateful that I'm no longer on medication. However, yeah, whatever can potentially help someone is totally up to them.
For sure.
That's, yeah.
No doubt.
Right on. We're going to shift things up a little bit. Have you ever heard of the Banff Canmore coupon book?
I have. I heard there's some smoking deals.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to cut into another little ad here. One of our new affiliates, big shout out to the Banff Canmore coupon book. We have a QR code on the screen, bottom right-hand corner. We're also going to play a little ad here for you, so we'll check back in just a second. Do you want to explore the Bow Valley like a local? Do you like saving your hard-earned money at the same time? So do we. That's why we teamed up with the Banff Canmore Digital Coupon Book. It's packed with deals on restaurants, activities, shopping, lodging, and much more. $30 initial investment will save you hundreds on deals all over town, so go grab yours today using our affiliate link available in our Instagram bio, or scan the QR code right on the screen to support your local podcast while exploring the place we all love and spending much less. All right, welcome back. If you want to give us a hand and support the pod, go grab yourself a coupon book with our code.
No doubt. There's some deals in there, bud.
Absolutely. Some great deals. I said on the ad, actually, there was hundreds in savings. It's actually over 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I was playing it conservative, but now I got all the info. We're launching bolts here. So
Nice
go
one.
grab yours. So Scott, what role does spirituality play in your mental health now, and maybe your journey in finding your spirituality? 'Cause it's always an ever changing journey, I would say, right?
Yeah. I guess for me personally, at this point in my life, regardless of what time I get up in the day, the first thing I do is I do certain practices for my spiritual connection.
Yeah, maybe we can start like, what does spirituality look for you? You know, because that could mean different things to different people.
Yeah, no doubt.
Totally. Yeah, for me, it's kind of an ebb and flow. Like, for example, this year, there's a woman in the UK. Her name's Diana Cooper, and she has a big platform in terms of spiritual education, spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. So she's having a series this year that's merging with archangels.
Okay.
So every month there's a different archangel it's an energetic transmission. So I've actually been listening to those as part of my most mornings. So I'll listen to that. It's with a specific archangel, and it's actually been wild. It's been amazing.
It's like a tape that you listen to, or a recording
it's
that they have?
It's a private YouTube video.
Okay.
So like yesterday, there was a new one for a new archangel. So for this year, right now, I'm listening to those most mornings. So that's about 30 minutes. Nice. And then I'm trained in 3 different quantum energy healing tools. Mm-hmm. So one of them is called Universal Sphere. So I connect with Universal Sphere, and I set a whole bunch of energetic intentions for myself and certain key people in my life.
Amazing.
And then I have a card deck also from Diana Cooper. I sound like a salesman here, but her card deck that I use is really powerful. It's called the Golden Future.
Okay.
And those cards are actually infused with 5D energy. So even just looking at the card, your 5D energy has been being transmitted to me.
Okay.
So anyways, I have certain cards of those that I read and feel every day. And then just recently I started doing some channeled writing most mornings. Mm-hmm. So basically when I start the day with those practices, as you can tell, like if you're adding up time, like it is about an hour. Mm-hmm. So, and I realize for a lot of people, they're like, there's no way I could do that. And I get it. But I just find that when I have those practices and I have this morning activation, some would say routine, it means that I'm starting my day in a spiritually grounded yet energized way. And it also means that my day is starting the same. Because I just know before I had a strong spiritual practice, if I'd be on my phone and I'd see something that pissed me off, bam, I'm having a shitty day.
For sure.
Right.
And it'd be very hard to turn that around into a good day.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, like even say, for example, when I did that hike last week with my friend Bupal, like we didn't get up crack of dawn, but I got up a bit earlier. So I didn't do all these practices that I just mentioned.
Right.
But still, bottom line is I still started the day in a very grounded yet energized way.
Well, I think there's a big thing to say about especially like meditation. And you said like almost positive affirmations. Like
like energetic intentions.
Yeah, energetic intentions and like thinking about yourself in a positive light and thinking about your goals and what you want. Like there's science now that proves that you actually can manifest things in your life. And by keeping a more positive attitude and thinking about yourself in a positive light, people always go, oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so this, I'm so that. It's like just stopping that internal monologue into yourself will change your life immensely.
It's so true because I know like when I was living in Calgary, I was reading a lot of self-help books. So I was the guy that was always saying positive things.
Okay.
However, in my mind, I had like recurring negative thoughts. And the only way that changed for me was I did a deep dive into a couple of mindset resources, like books and CDs and a few courses. And it was only after that negative pattern stopped. So
of course, easier said than done, right?
Oh yeah, and again, it's not like flicking the switch.
No.
Like by that point in my life, I had over 30 years of life experience. So you know, it definitely was some work. But yeah, so for me, like at this point in time with spirituality, as you can tell, it's a big part of my life, and you know, and just so happens, not surprisingly, like the best friends I mentioned that are my part of my strong support network, they all have a very strong morning routine, morning activation, and we all have the same belief that the more centered and grounded we are to begin our day, the better day we'll have for ourselves, and also the more we'll be able to support and help people we come across that day.
For sure, you're presenting your best self to people around you. I think, there's something very powerful in that, for sure.
Yeah, I know you mentioned earlier about you know, seeing something on your phone and getting pissed off and just like ruining your whole day. What role do you think like technology and social media are having on our mental health as a whole?
No, that's a great question. I definitely see both sides. So I personally think social media and technology can be amazing and empowering, incredible, when there's limits.
Right.
And I clearly say when there's limits because the people that I know that sadly are addicted to social media and technology, they have no limits, or they've got notifications for every app and their phone is just like bing, 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 bing. Right. But don't get me wrong, like I think like for example, one of my best friends, they post on Instagram, but it's very targeted. And it's just once in a while, and it's always a very vulnerable, honest video about their life.
Okay.
And I just know for me, like I'm part of a few Facebook bipolar groups. I don't spend a lot of time in there. But, you know, even in those groups, I see a lot of amazing knowledge, vulnerability, sharing, connections happening. But there again, I'll see some people that they're in, if you look at the timestamps, they're on there like 20 hours a day. It's like, okay, when are you sleeping?
Right?
Yeah.
So, and as you guys know, like nowadays with technology and social media, you can almost learn anything for free.
For sure.
True.
So I think that is incredible. Like whatever you want to learn, whatever you're curious about, we all got these magical phones. It's like, bam, you're learning about it. So overall, I think technology is amazing. However, I do think it's key to have limits. Like I know I tell a few people this, that like personally, my phone is in airplane mode 95% of the time. And sometimes when I make a new friend, they get thrown off by that because they're like, oh, I texted you and 4 hours ago and I haven't heard from you. I'm like, yeah, my phone was off. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, like if it's critical, my phone is on. But if it's a normal day, my phone's in airplane mode unless I turn it off and then check stuff. Right. So that's how I manage it, because I've It was a year and a half ago. I realized I was spending too much time on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a 1 month detox that turned into 2, that turned into 6.
Nice.
And what I realized is that, I'd done this before on a 1 week level, but it's like, no, I need to have stricter limits. So that's why I instituted the airplane mode more and more.
Nice.
Well, I think you'd be the exception to the rule. And there's something almost ingrained in our culture about being accessible 24/7.
Right.
Like,
Oh, for sure.
It never used to be that way. Like,
no,
you wanted
right?
to
It's
fucking go
pretty
home
new.
and hide, you just don't answer the phone.
And then social media too. You have almost like there's part of it that is like it's necessary for certain types of business or whatever, of course. But there's also like how much do you want to expose yourself to people on the internet or expose what you're doing, right? Like, of course, we all do it. We like to kind of show off, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm at the lake, I'm camping. Like, it's of course it's fun to do, but that's I think part of the addictiveness to it, right? Is getting that dopamine hit. Like, we're all there's like a book about it. I think it's like dopamine junkies and how
Right.
with the phone specifically, it's like it knows how to get you, you know? Like I find myself, if I'm scrolling late at night, like I get conspiracy theory stuff because it knows I'm interested in it and it knows it's going to keep me up for another 2 or 3 vids, you know?
I know Dan's going to keep diving.
Yeah. But it's like the more you kind of find yourself in those traps, it's a bit eye opening as to like, setting limits on that thing is a great idea.
Well, and like for example, there's a young gentleman that I work with at Park. I won't mention his name, but I admire the guy. He's a younger guy, and he got in his words a dumb phone. So I don't know. If
no access to internet, that type of stuff.
I think he still has access to internet, but bottom line is it's nowhere like a regular smartphone.
Okay.
Because he had the mindset and the foresight to realize that, hey, I'm spending way too much time on my phone, number one, social media, number two. So I asked him the other day, I'm like, hey, how's the dumb phone? He's like, it's great. I'm loving it. And so awesome. I know a few people that have got flip phones in the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's like a revival that's coming back.
Because as you know, it's like when you text someone, it's either very important or very urgent. Well, if it's urgent, you're going to call them. But if it's very important, so you got to press 4 times to get the D or whatever. And,
the old T9.
you know?
Yeah, dude, I see you're real good at that.
But I don't know. I purposely I think moving forward, there will be more people going back to flip phones. It's not going to be everyone, but I think there'll be a percentage of people getting the flip phone, the dumb phones, because, as you see, like you guys, we're all in the service industry. Like, again, no judgment, but I just find it incredibly sad. Last night I was working at Balkan and tourist family, mom, dad, 2 kids, all on their phones.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh, we're just looking at photos from today. No. But this is a family memory you're creating.
Yeah.
You're having this beautiful meal and you're all on your phones. I just find it heartbreaking. Like I usually make a joke, like, are you all texting each other? Are you communicating in the group chat? Like what's happening here?
And especially like in a
That's
restaurant, like you're paying a pretty penny for that experience too, right?
So
to be like, well, anyways, moving on, Scott. One of the concepts we wanted to talk about, and I thought it was great when we were kind of chatting pre-show, was the concept of nice versus kind, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean for you, someone that was, say, a nice person versus a kind person?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I know I brought this up with a few people and they're like, well, they're the same thing. And to me, like I spent majority of my life being known as a nice guy, trying to be nice and wanting to be liked. And I'll just say in my experience, when I was trying to be nice all the time, I was filling a need of wanting to be liked.
Okay.
Yeah, like feeling in, is it like being of servitude of other people?
More
right?
just like, oh, please like me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be nice.
Okay.
I'm gonna, like, so say for example, if I'd be working with someone and I'd try to get to know them and they just don't like me or they just are not interested in getting to know me, I would keep trying. Like, what did you do? Or where are you from? And the flip for me has been for many reasons, but first of all, I've got more comfortable with myself and comfortable with rejection and comfortable with people not liking me. But that being said, I'll still be kind to that person. Like even at Balkan right now, there's one person, I won't mention who, of course, but bottom line is I just don't like this person.
Yeah. Fair.
However,
hear you,
I'm still kind to them.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So even though I don't like them, if they need a hand, I will help them out. But I'm not getting to know them better as a person. So for me, there's a clear delineation, because to me, kind is still being a caring, genuine person. However, it's not getting to know someone really well. And yeah, I know even in Banff, like I know we were chatting before the show on the buses here, it'll say like Route 3, and then it'll flip and it'll say kindness is cool. And
Oh yeah.
yeah. I just think, the more people that are kind to each other, they don't have to be best friends, but it's a better world when people are kind, because, just little things like, say, for example, if I finish at Balkan and it's 11:30 at night, and if I'm walking right behind a young woman, I will cross the street and walk on the other side. Because what I've learned about women, and sadly with how many have had sexual assault and rape, is that for some women, as soon as there's a man following them late at night, they're already in fear mode. They're telling themselves something might happen. So, and again, I'm not saying I'm like Jesus or anything, but I will cross over the street. And to me, that's a way of being kind, because I'm thinking, okay, that woman has no idea who I am. She knows that I'm not going to do anything, or I know I'm not going to do anything. But to me, like that's a way of being kind, or yeah, that's kind of a different one.
Yeah, I think like trying to be nice to please other people is a little bit more wearing on you than just being kind because that's your personality, right? Like,
totally.
I don't know, like being nice to someone
Faking
versus
nice, like when
Yeah.
when you have to
exactly.
fake, like when you have to fake nice to someone that's just a dickhead and you know it, you're just like, all right, I'll take the high road. Like that's way more taxing than just actually
true.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Or like you said, like if you don't vibe with that person, instead of like, beating a dead horse and like trying to nice that person into liking you, well, just
Okay.
hey, like not everyone's gonna get along with you, right? Like it's just
No.
kind of the way it is.
It's so true. And I know I was sharing with Dan in messaging before the show that this last Sunday, 2 days ago, is the anniversary of my mom's passing. And I remember at her memorial service, there's all these people coming up to me I've never met in my life. My mom was part of different groups and volunteering and all this. And not all of them, but quite a few of them, they said to me, they're like, Scott, you don't know me. My name's whatever. Your mom was so kind. And I just think, like, what a legacy to have of being known as a kind person. And I think, man, like, and again, my mom was a school teacher, and she had a big network in the town that she lived in, and not everyone has that. But I think everyone can strive to be kind to each other, and it'll help us move into a better planet as well.
No doubt.
I think that's a good way to look at it, trying to be a kind person instead of a nice guy. You know what I mean?
Totally. Because like for me, as a nice guy, I spent years of my life as a doormat, because I was being nice, and not getting reciprocal, or not getting true friendships, getting people who like just wanted to do certain things with me and not really get to know me, etc. And yeah, I mean, I did a bunch of work on myself, but yeah, so when someone calls me nice now, like I don't get offended in any way, but I do find that, it's a reminder for me to just say, hey, okay, I don't have a problem being called nice, but I'm striving to be kind. So
I think that's good advice. I think a lot of our guests, and myself included, can take to heart.
Well, before we run out of time here, Scott, I wanted to talk a little bit about the book that you've been working on. Can you fill us in a little bit on what you've got in the works here for us? Or
yeah, thanks for asking. First of all, it's been a stop and start process, more stop than start until recently. Basically, is December 2013. I had my last and ideally last manic episode.
Nice.
And the first morning in the psych ward, I wrote out a list of things to focus on. So kind of like mini goals. Because bottom line is, number one, I wanted to make it as short a stay as possible. Number two, I wanted to make it as enjoyable of a stay as possible.
Right.
So I wrote out this list and I focused on that. And I was out of there in 3.5 days.
Nice.
And sometimes when I tell people that story, like even psych nurses and psychiatrists, they're like, there's no way you had a major manic episode and we're out in 3.5 days. I'm like, it happened to me. Check my medical file.
Yeah, like I have the proof. I have the receipts right here, man.
Totally.
Yeah.
So a couple of years after that, I wrote a short blog post, and I just shared a couple of those things. And then a few people reached out to me and said, hey, that really helped me.
Yeah.
So that was kind of in the back of my mind. And then sadly, that website changed, and it's now a Chinese porn site, but that's a whole other story.
What a wild turn of events.
As you can tell, I no longer own the domain, but I let the domain go, and and then my buddy's like, Scott, did you see what's on Scott Inside Out now? I'm like,
no.
He's like, you don't want to see. So of course I bring it up. I'm like,
oh God.
But so anyway, so back to the book. So I wrote that blog post. It was in the back of my mind to maybe write more. And then it was about 3 years ago. I was at the Fairmont Spa in town. Mm-hmm. I was sitting in, I don't know, the steam room or the sauna or something. And I was saying, okay, what can I write that will maybe help people? Because I've always enjoyed writing. I've just usually wrote short stories or whatever. But I'm like, what can I write that can maybe help someone? I'm like, oh, I did that blog post years ago that helped a few people. So that's where it started. So basically, the book is it's a guide, and it's steps for people to do when they're in the psych ward, to have a healing psych ward stay. Okay. And it's a guide for patients, family, and friends. So I'm purposely designing it so that it's very easy for the patient to read. Like it's actually like short sentences with a space.
Okay, cool.
Because when someone's in that state, it's actually very hard to read like a paragraph.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
So I'm purposely taking my time to make it as concise, lots of bolds, lots of spacing, and then of course for family and friends, I'm designing it so that if they're comfortable and they want to, there's specific questions they can ask their loved one about those steps. Like it might sound simple, but one of the questions, for example, is like, okay, did you eat breakfast today?
For sure.
And that might sound weird, but there's a lot of people in the psych ward that they're not eating. They're just
might be often overlooked by someone who's not in going through it, right?
So so essentially with that book, it's my own experience. It's the steps in the psych ward, and ideally, I'm nervous saying this, but ideally, my target publishing date is World Mental Health Day, which is October 10th.
Amazing.
So I got, I'm putting out the vibes.
Ambitious project.
That it'll happen. Nice. And it's not going to be a long book. But like I say, it's designing. I'm designing it to be concise and useful.
Right. Almost like a crash course on how to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I would say that.
Like that's kind of how I picture it when you describe it. Yeah. But I mean, you make a good point of just the editing and as far as like, the formatting of making it readable. Like
totally.
I mean, I'm sure I've never experienced it, but if you're in the mental, you probably have a lot of time on your hands to read positive material.
Yeah, like you've got tons of time, yet your brain is overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. So it's a very interesting dynamic. And of course, like for example, one of the steps is don't watch TV. Because when I was a staff member on the psych ward, and then when I was a patient in the psych ward, there are certain people that they are literally watching TV every hour that they're not sleeping or eating.
Okay.
And
you're not getting anything done if you're just wasting your time on TV.
No, exactly. Like, and again, I have nothing against someone watching TV for a short period of time as a break, but yeah, like I know as a staff member, we would see certain people in the acute ward. They could go to groups, they could go to group therapy, they could go for a walk with the group. No, they're watching TV, and then sure enough, they become long term. They're no longer acute because it's like they're not improving.
They're not working on themselves. They're just
also there's we mentioned spirituality earlier, and television specifically. Like in spirituality and stuff, like some people see them as kind of like a portal into other places, or like TVs are not really seen highly beneficial in spiritual realms that I have like but like have researched. Just as far as like programming negative images into your head. Like if you're say watching the news 24/7, like it's kind of hard to keep.
It's kind of depressing. Yeah,
it's kind of hard to keep a positive view of the world if you're
totally
consuming those images constantly.
Not a lot of like positive news on there. It's all like double homicides, car accidents, police chases. Like
one could say this is just a little portable television, right? Like
yeah. Well, it's so true. And you know, when I was in the financial industry, I had to be on top of the news as part of my job, to be informed, to be seen as an expert, to be seen as knowledgeable. And sure enough, the more news that I consumed, the more cynical I was, the more negative I was, the more pessimistic I was about not only where I lived, but the world. I'm at the point now where I barely take in news, and anything major that happens, I always hear about it. So.
Of course.
Somebody's going to tell you.
100%. I think scheduling that time to sit down and get bombarded with negative information is probably not a good part of your routine.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, that's all the time we have for today, Scott. Thank you so much for coming in and joining. Actually,
oh yeah, no, you're welcome.
I had one more question that I wanted to ask you before we go.
Oh, for sure.
Because I don't want to leave it on a bad note. I want to leave things on a positive note. What are you most hopeful about when it comes to the future of mental health?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did think about that. I'm the most hopeful that people will be able to get help sooner than in the past.
So like access is becoming better in that sense?
Access is ideal. And again, I know it depends on the city and the town, but as you already said, in Banff, I think we're doing very well here. And also, I think a second piece is that with technology and social media now, there are so many more positive, empowering stories of people that have come through the shit and come out the other side.
For sure.
Like when I was first diagnosed, there was a couple of stories, but that was it. Now there's hundreds and thousands of people out there who are advocates, who have written stories, who have done movies, plays, you name it. So as we move forward, that will be happening more and more and more and more and more. So that's something I'm excited about too.
And I think there's real power to that, and to knowing that someone's gone through that journey and come out the other side like yourself, and, you know, writing your book is huge. So we want to thank you so much, Scott, for coming in and sharing your thoughts and your perspective with us. Because, like I said, one of the things I'm hopeful for looking into the future, I think, is that the stigma, I think, is slowly breaking down, right? Like,
fair enough.
Like we talked about in the beginning of the episode, like the whole bipolar thing and how they're portrayed in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I think that's like that type of messaging in media, and especially Hollywood, is like way gone now. Like people aren't really portrayed like that anymore, which is awesome. So once again, if it's your first time tuning in, hit the like and subscribe.
Yeah, no doubt. Takes like 2 seconds. Just smash the button. It's like literally, where are we? Down here?
Yeah, because we know people that tune in and don't subscribe, and it's weird. So don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Drink Shaft. You can get those deliciously on the Rose and Crown patio, which would be an awesome day to be up there. I'm sure it's smoking. Go get yourself a Glizzy Tower. Have yourself a good time. If you're looking for more discounts around the town of Banff, make sure you go check out our Instagram bio. Grab yourself a coupon book. Save some Skrilla. Support your favorite pod.
No doubt.
Just like every week. See you next Tuesday. Peace.